Hello. Today's topic will be senior care advisors and the most frequently asked questions of them. Today you'll see an interview that will cover the most frequently asked questions of advisors in the industry. If this is your first time visiting our channel, please hit the like button and also the subscribe button. And I look forward to sharing more videos with you in the future. Thank you so much. And now enjoy the video.
Well, hi, I'm Tiffany White. I'm with Keller Williams Realty in the Franklin, Nashville, Tennessee office. I work with those who are looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential property. And I wanted to introduce you to a new friend of mine from Networking Today International. This is Steve Chapek. He is with Senior Care Advisor Group. And we have met at this networking group that we've been in for quite a while. Steve, can you tell me, how do you assist the elderly and their family members through your business?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I appreciate your time. Thank you for allowing me to do this. I work with seniors and their families in multiple different ways. First of all, I typically do work with the adult children that have an older parent that's starting to have deteriorating health. So they are needing some guidance, some assistance on either setting up resources for their loved one, or even they're at the point where they know their loved one is ready to move to a community. So they might ask me to help them find the right community for their loved one. So that's the majority of what I do, and I can share a couple other things as we go along that are more specific to certain cases.
Okay, I didn't even know that somebody performed services like this. I've never heard of a business like yours. Until just recently, until we met a few months ago.
Yeah, it is different. I think one thing I was noticing in the industry is that there was a need for something a little bit different than that's out there right now. And my services do offer that. A little bit of what I do, a little bit more than others, is counseling. That's the other part I was going to say that I'll get to. But that's a perfect time to just talk about it. I've got several families that, especially during the holidays, right now we're getting close to Christmas, but almost any holiday or time that you're gonna see your parent is when folks start to get worried about how do I start sharing or asking questions about what their desires are for their future. Do they wanna stay in home? Should they stay in the home? And there's a lot of worry that the adult children will have concerning that conversation and how that conversation will go. So there's a lot of times I'm actually coordinating plans with an adult child for when they talk to their parent, how to get into that discussion, what is important to discuss and what isn't worth the argument. And so it's a really great opportunity to sit down with families and help them make sure their loved one is going to get the care they need when they need it.
I can imagine that's a really tough topic to bring up for a lot of the adult children.
It is.
It's a tricky subject, but at some point, it's a discussion that needs to happen.
Yes, and really, it's one of the most loving discussions you can have with your loved one, your elderly loved one, because you want to make sure you're understanding what their goals are. And quite often, I think people think that the only options are either staying at home and it not going well or finding an assisted living. And there's so much in between that can be set up for success either in the home or showing them 55 and up communities that are like resorts. I mean, they're beautiful. Or independent livings that are doing a little bit more help for the elderly than they used to. And then assisted livings, of course, are there, and long-term care. But there's so many options, and it's great to be able to talk about it early, so it's actually the older adult or the parent's decision and not now just the kid making the decision. So it allows for some good things to happen down the road.
I can see where that would be nice to have an open discussion.
Yes,
while
definitely.
The parent is still able to be involved in that discussion.
Definitely, and that's my ultimate goal is for the elderly loved one to make sure their goals are attained. So to have them be able to set up these plans with their loved one early and truly be the driving force in these decisions changes the whole dynamic. It's usually when they feel like they're out of control, they have no input, that's when a lot of the conflict comes in. So it's great to have these discussions really earlier. I do a lot, even over the phone, through the internet, through Skype and Zoom calls, helping people to plan out these conversations correctly to get good results with their parents.
That's great. Technology helps us in so many ways.
It does, yes, it does.
So I understand that you have been in the industry for some time. Can you tell us what experiences shaped you to want to start your business?
Sure, absolutely. I think going back real quickly, my grandparents were really more like parents to me. They were so involved in my upbringing. My grandfather taught me how to ride a bike, throw a baseball, play golf, and I saw things happen with them early on, and that really shaped me to want to work with the elderly. I love working with the elderly. But specifically in the industry, there were some specific times where I had scenarios come across my plate as an administrator of an assisted living. I've been in the industry since about '98, but opening up assisted livings, there were plenty of opportunities where I thought, what would have happened to this person if I hadn't stepped in to help, if I hadn't taken the time to listen? And one in particular, there was a gentleman that was I went to see someone in a mental health community, one of my residents that was there, and to check on how they were doing. And when I was there, the social worker asked me to sit down with someone that was currently there and had been there for over 60 days. Now, this patient that was there for over 60 days, in that setting, they try not to have anyone stay over 2 weeks. So it was well over the time. Mm-hmm. And the social worker just said, no one will really give this person an opportunity. They won't really sit and listen to what they've been through and give them a chance in a community. So, a very interesting situation. I was able to sit down with this patient in the mental health community, talk with them and hear what was going on. They had a lot of speech issues, so it was a challenge to understand what they were needing, but I could so easily see in their eyes what they really wanted. And I shared with them that based on the situation, I could bring them to our assisted living, but due to some things in their history, we'd need to start out in our memory care, which is a secured setting. And I told the individual directly that's what I would be doing, but that my goal would be to get them over to our regular assisted living and really help them get out of this mental health situation. So brought the individual over to our memory care, started bringing them over to our assisted living for different events. It went really well. And I was able to, within about 2.5, maybe 3 months of them being in the community, able to move them to the regular assisted living. And that went really well. Even with the speech impediment issues or the ability to speak clearly, they still really thrived in that environment of the assisted living. They had much more autonomy. And then a family member came and said they were doing so well that a house had come open for them to purchase for their loved one that was in my assisted living, and that they wanted that loved one to move into this house because they could very closely watch over that loved one. And so it was such a great story to go from someone that I don't know how long they would have been there in the mental health community had I not just sat down and listened, and getting them through the process safely, and then having them be able to move out into their own home again and have family support them. So that was one of the greatest stories that I could give, that just really kept pushing me to realize I need to be an advocate for those out in the industry. And then lastly, just I noticed in the industry that there is more of a need for, like I said, more advocates, some people that maybe are doing things a little bit different than some other groups.
So that's a wonderful story, and it really shows that you care and what you can accomplish if you just take the time to maybe investigate and look into things a little bit further.
Absolutely.
So are you affiliated with any particular groups?
Great question. Actually, I'm not. I am independent. This is my own company. And what I chose to do things a little bit differently than some others. I do not have any contracts with any communities anywhere. So I strictly work for the client. And what I mean by that with contracts is that there's some great agencies out there. They do good work. They do contracts with communities locally, But what they do is that they don't have contracts with everyone. So when someone is needing help, they're able to say that the service is completely free, but it's because they're really only going to be able to show their customers the communities they have contracts with. They're not going to be able to show them all the communities available. And for me, that was a big difference that I wanted to make sure I was able to do, is to truly listen to my clients' needs and what would be best for them, and then match them up with that building that made the most sense for them, if it was a building, or services in the home, if that's it. But that it wasn't somehow I was sharing with them certain ones that I had contracts with.
Sure, that sounds kind of limiting.
It is,
and a little bit maybe biased. And
well, I think
if somebody has a contract and with a particular
sure
organization that they can only recommend or talk about or present them with certain options, and it's not all of their options.
Correct. Now, these groups would be able to share other communities with their clients, but typically end up not doing that because the only way they're going to get paid is if a person goes into that community that they have a contract with. So that's what's a little bit different. And I believe they mean well. I think it's a great service. It's just I wanted to do things a little bit different and focus really on the client and their goals, and then line them up with really the best no matter what, no matter where it is. So that's how I decided to do it.
That's great. So thanks so much for taking time to meet with me and kind of answer some of my questions and kind of clarify what you do and how you do it. Can you tell me the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, there's a couple ways. I do want to make sure I let you all know I want to be a help to folks with just getting information out there to the community at large in regards to questions about senior care. I do have a YouTube channel. It can be found either by Nashville Assisted Living Help is the name of it, or through my name, Steve Chapek, but the last name's kind of hard to spell. So, but either way, I'm out there on YouTube, Facebook, and then of course the best way to get in touch with me directly is by phone, and that number is 615-591-4388.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. Guys, Steve Chapek with Senior Care Advisor Group. I highly suggest you look them up and find out more about them. Reach out to Steve and see how he can help you and your loved one. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
We'll see you later.
All right. Thanks so much.